Hey there, Wolfpack fans, and welcome to another edition of Wolfpack Watch. This, the long-awaited Wolfpack Watch after the most recent two games, the Woodstock Wolverine game here at the Den and the most recent game on the road over at Campbell. With me, as always, my co-host, Coach Bryant. Thanks for joining us as usual.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the Woodstock game first. That has been, we had a week off. Or we had Woodstock, then a week off, and then Campbell on the road. So it's been now 3 weeks since we played that game. I know maybe the stats aren't necessarily right on the top of your head or the game itself being so long ago, but tell us your thoughts on that game. It was a 35-14 win here in the Den.
Yeah, I thought we played really well. Offensively, we moved the ball. We had three backs with touchdown runs, or two backs with a touchdown run that game. And then our third back, Preston Rogers, caught a touchdown. Kyle Bird passed for something 180 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and then ran for a touchdown. Offensively, I thought we moved the ball really well, and that's a tribute to our offensive line. Every one of our offensive linemen graded out at over 80%, and DJ Jacobs was selected as our offensive player of the game that game. And then defensively, we did great job for 2.5 quarters. Kept them out of the end zone, and we had a couple of breakdowns, but we were already up, 28-0 at the time. Woodstock got a couple of late touchdowns, but overall it was a great team win.
Talk about the preparation that you had for that game. After that game, you had the week off. I know you actually left to go on vacation for that week. How did the team react after coming back and preparing for Campbell leading up to that game?
Well, we had 2 weeks off. A week off leading into the Woodstock game, then a week off leading into the Campbell. So 2 open dates right in the middle of the year. It's not ideal because the kids know we don't have a game that Friday night when we come in and practice. But our kids did a great job. We got them all back here during fall break. I give them time away a little bit from football. And when our Woodstock game was over, that Friday we normally do yoga and lift on Sunday and meet as a staff on Sunday. I gave everybody off that Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So if they need to get away with their family, they could. And then we came back that Thursday night leading into the Woodstock game the following week, and we bring them in. We practice at 6 p.m., and then we bring them Friday and Saturday morning and practice at 8 a.m. So instead of going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on an open week, we went Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it gave them some time off. We did a lot of fundamental stuff during that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, kind of worked on us, not really preparing for Campbell at that time. And then we started preparing for Campbell that Sunday. We brought them in, did yoga, lifted, we met as a staff, and then had a full week of practice leading into last week's game with Campbell.
And so the most recent game at Campbell last Friday night, a win over there, 37-6. It was 30-0 at halftime. And we've gone over this before relative to blowout games and stuff like that and how you keep focus and maintain your intensity and stuff like that. I think we knew who the opponent was. We knew they weren't necessarily a good football team, and we played like it looks like. Talk about some of the players that played in that game, showed out well, and then we'll get into some other stuff from that game.
Well, we scored on our first 6 offensive possessions. We never punted that game. And then defensively, we came into the game, and they'd been a spread offense leading up to the week before they played us. And then all of a sudden they scrapped the whole spread offense and went to a flex bone with triple option, which, even in college when teams have a flex bone team on their schedule, they practice at least a 20-minute period every day throughout the entire year on flex bone because it's such a unique offense and not a lot of people run it anymore. So, when you're having problems blocking people, then the obvious solution to that is to read them. So, that's what Campbell did. They kind of scrapped their spread and went to a flex bone offense, which I thought our guys did a really good job because, every other team we play are some form of spread, and now we're playing a flex bone team, so that kind of shifts gears and personnel, who we put on the field, how we play to run. Now it becomes assignment football instead of letting us pin our ears back and be aggressive, which I thought our defensive staff did a great job getting our guys ready, as well as our guys focusing in and locking in on that week. Then offensively, going into the game, every tape that we had on them, they were a 3-3 stack team. And then when we played them, we lined up that Friday night. They were in an even front. They were in a 4-2-5, which is different. It changes your blocking schemes offensively, and changes the rules, because your rules change a little bit when you're in a 3-3 stack and an even front. So we just simplified what we were doing. We saw them running an even front right before the game, so we scrapped some of the stuff that we had planned for the 3-3 stack and just ran our base stuff that we run all spring, because we know Rome was an even front team. So we just went back to that game plan, and I thought our offensive line and skilled players on offense did a great job of that sudden change scenario that happened, and came out and we did a good job offensively in the first half. And in the first series of the third quarter we scored, and then we started subbing guys after that. And some of our starters were upset that we were getting subbed out in the third quarter, but I reminded them, I said, have you guys ever seen the Friday Night Lights? They said, yes sir. I said, Booby Miles. They're like, what do you mean? I said, they're at 40-something to nothing. And old Waterbug forgot his helmet, and they had to throw Booby Miles back in there, and he tore his ACL. Done for the year. I said, all I can see is one of our starters getting injured when we're up 37-0 in a game that's already decided. So they understood that. Kids want to play, and which is great. I'm glad that they want to be on the field, but we've got other guys that do everything that they do at practice, and it's a chance for them to get on the field and actually play some on Friday night. And I thought the guys that came in and sub for them came in and did a great job.
So talk a little bit about what you mentioned with the surprise of their change in offense and even the change in defense. Now, you saw, obviously, before the game that they were going to run a four-man front, so you were able to make adjustments before game. The first time they had the ball and they lined up in that triple option, was that the first time you saw that?
No, they had run it the week before when they played Sequoia. That was the first time that they had ran it. But in pregame, we looked at, so we'd practice against flex bone all week, because that's what they were going to do. And in pregame, they were running flex bone and spread. So
we trying to throw you off a bit.
Yeah, so they're trying to throw us off a bit. So our defensive coordinator told them, all right, well, if they go spread, guys, we're going to go back to our base defense. We're just going to blitz them, and lock up in the secondary, and play man free and run some true cover 2, and then blitz from the perimeter. But they lined up and ran flex bone the whole game. So that's what we practiced for all week.
Did the kids enjoy that? Did they enjoy the difference in something they saw for the first time? I mean, some of these kids probably never ran against that offense ever as a defensive player.
Right.
Not even in middle school or even youth, depending on the program that they were playing. Did they seem to enjoy this a little bit?
I think especially the D linemen and the linebackers, because they had a much bigger role in this game. And instead of getting after the passer and rushing the passer, now they get to actually make tackles in the backfield on the run game, because most spread offenses are spreading the field, throwing it all over the field. Those guys don't get as much a chance to make plays. And when you condense the defense down and condense your offense and running flex bone, where the defensive tackle's got to take the dive on some plays, the outside backer's got pitch, the safety rolls down and got quarterback, or vice versa, then it made our kids have to lock in and pay much more attention in practice, because it's something that you don't see every day.
Talk about some of the players from this game. You had defensive player of the week, Nathan O'Reilly, I believe.
Yep.
That's the first time we've mentioned his name. Why don't you give a shout out for him?
Well, for various reasons, we had a couple of outside linebackers that weren't going to play in this game for injuries or something else. And Nathan had a chance to step in and start. And he's a sophomore. He's been in a backup role this year. He's been playing, dressing out with us every Friday night on the varsity, getting 8 or 10 plays a game, but also starting on the JV game on Thursday night. But he didn't. We told him on Thursday he wasn't playing in the JV game, that he was going to be starting that Friday night. And I came up to him. I said, "Look, man," I said, you get a chance to start this Friday night. I said, make the best of that opportunity. I said, other guys that are out for whatever reason, I said, make it difficult for them guys to get their job back. Sure. And he stepped up and had a great game and led us in production points, had 24 production points, led us in tackles, had 9 tackles, and just did everything that we asked him to do. Very coachable kid. He was calling Coach Arthur leading up to the game for 3 days, or texting him or sending him remind messages, asking him questions that he doesn't understand, which is all we need our kids to do. If you don't understand something, don't just sit there silent. ask questions. Let's get those questions answered, and then when we go through walkthrough on Thursday, then all those questions should be answered. Then when we do film on Tuesday and Wednesday. I thought he came in and did a great job. Then at the end of the game, we put him in the tailback, and he ran for like a 20-yard run and hurt himself. So he's got turf toe for the week. And for those of you who've never had turf toe, it's a son of a gun. It hurts.
Sure
I had it in college, but I got a cortisone shot and kept playing. But I was 19 years old, so these kids aren't going to do that. So, as well as he played last week, then he's not going to be playing this Friday night.
Talk about the other player of the week. We had a special teams player of the week this week, and we performed our first onside kick of the season, and we were successful. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, we've been practicing onside kick in practice, every week. We got one where we kick it to the side, where Tanner Bentley's our guy that jumps up and gets the high bounce, and then depending on how they play us in the middle, then we'll go mouth middle, and then Coach Arthur, I came to him and I said now's the time to practice that onside kick. It was like 1:45 left in the half. We had just scored, so he said I can do it. I said yeah. I said but if they get it, I said and they scored, the whole defensive staff is fired. So just messing with him, but they did a great job, and Brock kicked it perfectly just over the 50, and Reese Harkins, our special teams player of the week, recovered it. Perfect Sunday hop, recovered it right there at midfield, and our offense did their job and went down and scored.
That's awesome. Always love to give the lesser mentioned players a shout out when they do things well on a Friday night. Okay, Coach. So we're 5-0. This is where you want to be. This is where you probably expected to be. The whole team probably expected to be here. Now comes the hard part. We're going into region play, and who do we start out with? I think they're ranked 23 nationally, 5th in the state, what have you. Various polls have them at various points in the top 10. The Marietta Blue Devils, with all the talent that they have, they lost talent last year actually, and I remember the excitement that you had in going into that game over at Marietta, thinking we're going to punch them in the mouth, we're going to do whatever we can to stick with them, and for the most part in the first half, it was back and forth, and then it got out of hand at the end. They're coming into our place this year with all the talent in the world that they have this year. They're 4-1. Their only loss is to Grayson, but their strength of schedule is a lot different than ours. They played a team from Pennsylvania and beat them. Last week beat a team from Florida. Thoughts on what we're going to see here in the Den on Friday night?
Well, as a competitor, these are the type games that you want to play in. And, and I told our kids this week at practice that, every game that we played going into this game, we've been the favorite. So all the other teams knew that we were supposed to win those games, so they could play free, they could play loose, all the pressure was on us. Going into this game, Marietta's got 18 kids, I think, that's got, scholarship offers already, and they've got talent all over the field, but on paper, they've got more talent than we do. That doesn't always mean they've got the best team. So our guys have got to go into the game with the same mindset that every other team that we've played has played against us. All the pressure is on Marietta. There's no pressure on us. Nobody in the state is going to give us a chance to beat Marietta, except the guys out in that huddle that have practiced all week and been going all year long. To have a chance to beat a team like Marietta, then we've got to do all the little things right, which is what we tell our kids all the time. Little things like stretching correctly in practice, going through the dynamic warm-ups correctly, calling out stunts and blitzes when you see them, being in the right position on defense and coverage, staying on your double teams when we're running power. Just the little things that we're going to have to do to be successful that some of these other teams might not have to do because their talent level is different. We've got some really talented football players, and we're going to go into the game just like any other Friday night. We expect to win. If we didn't expect to win the game, then we might as well just mail it in and tell them, hey, you got to win because on paper, you got the most talent. But that's not the way it works. So, what we want to do is we want to try to keep it close to the fourth quarter and then try to steal the game in the fourth quarter. Blow for blow. If we go blow for blow with Marietta, that sooner or later their athleticism is going to take over. just like when North Carolina played Clemson. Clemson, talent-wise, is much better than North Carolina, but North Carolina did what they had to do to get the game in the fourth quarter, and Clemson did some things that they're not accustomed to doing because they're pressing, because they know they should be wearing North Carolina out. Now, 9 times out of 10, Clemson will probably wipe the floor with North Carolina, but for a one-game scenario, the team that plays the hardest and the team that plays the best will win that game, and that's our mindset going into this game with Marietta. Is nobody's giving us a chance to win, but our kids have done a great job this week. We've kept them after school later than we normally do for film. Not one complaint. We feel like we've got a good game plan going in. Things change when that whistle blows. So we're hoping that our guys have the same mindset going into this game as we did all week at practice. On paper, like you said, they're the better team. They got the most talent, but that's why we play the game. And this, as a competitor, that's one of the main reasons I came to Georgia. To go up against the Mariettas and the McEatrons and the Hillgroves. Those teams that are really, really good athletically on paper. And as a competitor, you don't want to play somebody that you're going to wear out every Friday night. You want to play somebody that's going to challenge not only us as a coaching staff, but challenge our kids every play, every rep, which is what we try to do to them in the weight room and in practice to get them ready for just such a scenario.
So one player that I will bring up just because he tormented you and the Wolfpack last year, but the many people that I've talked to this week who know that this game is coming up, they all bring up one name, and it's not Harrison Bailey. It's that tight end Eric Gilbert.
Right.
How do we cover this kid? Do we have a scheme that we're going to come in? Not that I want you to give anything away, because we don't want to give the Marietta folks any more ammunition than they need, but you've got to be thinking in your mind that there's got to be something that you can do a little bit different than maybe last year.
It is, but by the same token, if we focus too much on him, they've got a Division I tailback that can pound it, and then they've got 4 other Division I receivers that they sub in and out of the game. So we're going to have to do different things to try to limit all of their touches. And that's going to come from. Sometimes we'll drop 8, sometimes we'll bring pressure. We're going to give them different looks to try to not only confuse their pass routes, but also to give Harrison, different looks, so he can't pinpoint on one receiver and pick him. Which, when you've got that much talent, we've got to be aware of all of them. We can't just focus on one, even though that one caught, I think, 3 or 4 touchdowns on us last year. When you're 6'5" and 250, we had him locked up on 2 of those touchdowns. We were right there, anyway. And he made the play anyway. So all we can do is put our kids in the best position to succeed, and then the rest is going to come down to the bounce of the ball, or if we're in the correct position and we're in the right position, sometimes we're going to make the play, sometimes we're not, and that's part of football. And we've got to live to play another down. We've got to have a short-term memory. If we make a mistake, and I tell them all the time, if we make a mistake, don't hang your head because you got another play coming. If you make a great play, act like you've done it before because you got another play coming. So we're in every aspect of every game, we go to a next play mentality and a next man up mentality. We'll have a couple of starters out this game, but we've actually gotten a couple of starters back. So we're hoping that we're not going to miss those starters as much, and that the guys we get back are going to give us a plug on offense and defense.
Does the Grayson game that Marietta play give you anything of a blueprint on how to play them? Because that's their only loss, and it was 28-14. That's not necessarily a close game.
Right.
Did they give you any information that might help you for this Friday night?
They did. We, Aaron Nance is the offense coordinator there, and he was our offense coordinator last year, and some of the same fronts and on defense, and some of the same formations and play concepts that Grayson runs, we have within our offense as well. Our offense is different, but some of the ways that Grayson lined up on offense kind of gave us an idea of how Marietta is going to line up to us when they line up on defense. And then the Edgewater game from this past week, do some of the same things as well. But again, Marietta may come in, and because we're a different team than both those teams, and they may do something totally different. So, we've got to be prepared on both sides of the ball for whatever they throw at us, and that goes back to our sudden change that we do every day in practice, kind of throw stuff at kids when they're not ready for it, to make sure that they're able to adjust during practice, and they can adjust during practice, then that'll help us be able to adjust on Friday night.
Well, we are looking forward to a raucous, rabid crowd on Friday night here for Marietta. It's our first region game. It's a big game. It's a top 25 nationally rated team. And if there's any hope that we're going to win this, even from a less talent perspective, we need the fans there, rooting, cheering, screaming, hollering, fan section doing their job, parents doing their job, get everybody there. Let's drown out Marietta and let's do everything we can. I think probably the key to the game, in all fairness, just from an outside looking in perspective, is how well you guys keep the ball in offense to keep that quarterback and those receivers off the field. I think that's going to be paramount. If you guys can move the ball and keep it away from them, there's no telling what can happen. That fourth quarter close game might happen, and we may just steal one like you say.
That's right. The three things we've got to be able to do and to win games like this against an opponent like a Marietta is we've got to win in special teams. Okay, we've got to win the third down situations, and we've got to win the turnover battle. If we can do those three things and be successful, then we'll have a chance to beat them. If I told our offensive players yesterday when we did film, we want to put ourselves in 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 4 situations. That opens up the entire playbook. Sure. Now, if we put ourselves in 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 9, that takes away about 3/4 of our playbook about what we can run. And then same thing on defense. When we're in defense, we've got to get off the field on 3rd down. If we get them in 3rd down situations, we have got to not let them convert 3rd downs, which is something that they did last year. We didn't convert many 3rd down conversions against them last year, nor did we get off the field on 3rd down when we were on defense. That's one of the big components this week, along with winning the turnover battle in special teams.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to a good game Friday night. Let's hope we can pull this one out. I think your players have confidence. Obviously, you and your coaching staff have confidence. I think this community has confidence that we can pull this game out, and I'm looking forward to it. I think we're all looking forward to it. Coach, any last-minute comments before we go?
No, we're just excited. Our kids are excited about the opportunity to play Marietta in a big-time region game, and having it at home with the Navy Crazies is going to be, it's going to be a plus for our kids. The energy in the building should be, the energy on the field should be jacked up. I'm excited. I'm excited to coach in this game, and I know our kids are excited to play in it. I know our fans are excited to watch the game.
Let's get out to a good start on Friday night. Maybe a couple touchdowns early in the first quarter, get a lead, and then we'll try to hold on at the end. Coach, thanks again for joining us.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
We're looking forward to all you guys getting there on Friday night to support this team against nationally ranked Marietta. Let's get us a win here in the Den. Go Pack.
Go Pack.